Welcome to Sunday sharing. Welcome. I'm Cynthia. This is your Sunday service sharing, and we'll begin with, I guess, a little opening connection. So calling, remembering, let's say remembering. So divine feminine, great mother who holds all things with fierce protection and tender compassion. Divine masculine, the sacred warrior who moves in clear purpose and loving action. Supreme consciousness, the stillness between the opposites, where true wisdom dwells. Beloved, the beloved, may we understand fear not as the enemy, not as the enemy of love, but as love's guardian and guidance with gratitude. Let us begin. So welcome to this last sharing of the month of July. August, we go into something a little different, so we'd love to see you there. But let's look at this teaching today, which was called Sacred Guardian, or the Sacred Dance, how fear serves love through the divine, feminine and masculine. So just a little sharing and unpacking and experiencing, so that we've been talking this month about fear literacy, or becoming literate in the language of your fear. Right? So we've been taught that fear and love are enemies. So think about that for yourself. So your beliefs and conditioning patterns, what you've been encoded, how you know what you know, the meaning is important. So to choose love means to banish fear. This is what a lot of the language out there is about. That spiritual development requires becoming fearless. But what if
this understanding has kept us spiritually immature. And I'm going to suggest that. That is my hypothesis. That's my hypothesis, right? It's not only my hypothesis, it's what I experienced directly. And fear is not love's opposite, as we talked about last week. So if you missed last week's, you could go back, it's still up and available. So not the opposite, but love's devoted protector. Oh, so just feel that for yourself. Feel that for yourself. Okay. Today, we're going to explore the radical reframing. So who's here? Say hello on the restream. I've got it up. I do have to keep on track, but I do have it up. I'm going to look over there to see who's there. And Instagram as well, and my community here. We're going to explore the radical reframing. Fear as the divine feminine principle that creates the sacred container, right? The sacred container for love's divine masculine expression. So it can flourish safely in the world. Right? So here we go. Buckle up. As we go through, I actually toned it down. I toned this down a little, but it's still a little feisty in some places. Fierce. Feminine fierce in some places, okay? I did tone it down a little. But if you feel it in your body, notice, witness, because that's what this is about. So we've got this presence of the divine feminine, the divine masculine, and between them flows the neutral. In some traditions, you know, we've got the mother, the father, the neutral, the Ida, Pingala, Shushumna, you know, all different ways of looking at how that is in the body. Right? This neutral is the space of wisdom, the space of wisdom that allows both fear and love to serve, and not only just serve, but serve our highest evolution. All that I'm about personally is conscious human evolution. What we're about here at the House of Unconditional Love is learning and knowing that unconditional love is the answer. Okay, so this is not just a metaphor. This is a fundamental architecture of spiritual development. You with me? Okay. Yeah? All right. So the sacred technology that allows consciousness to evolve through our embodied experience. So I'm going to take you through. We're going to start with the divine feminine, fear as sacred mother. Okay. And just notice for yourself if you're like, yeah, or no, that sounds so wrong. And just note that for yourself as we go along. Why is it wrong? Where does that come from? How do you know? Were you told? Okay. So that you can, it's not about right or wrong. It's about understanding. Okay. So this divine feminine principle we find in most sacred form, not the contracted ego-driven fear, right? Fear that keeps us small, but the vast protective intelligence. And so you could sort of look at it as, well, I'll explain it. I was going to say your defensive behaviors or your protective behaviors, but they sort of come from the layering of your, or almost like your misery, I want to say, your conditioning patterns and whatnot from your past. So there's a subtle difference, and we're going to explore this a little. So we have this protective intelligence, the great mother, who will do anything to protect what she loves, you. everything here. Think of a mother bear. Think of the mother bear. Are you a mother bear? Some of you are mother bears. I was a mother bear. I still am a mother bear to it. You know, I'm a mother bear to my husband. I'm like, you talking about him? Right. Anyway, settle down, mother bears. Mother bears with your cubs. Right. Picture this: a mother bear with her cubs, and a threat approaches. Right. I'm on my tiptoes, coming at you, cubs. Does she think, oh, I should send love and light to this predator? You know? Does she say, oh, my anger isn't spiritual, so I'll shove that down a little? Right? No, she becomes a force of nature, fierce, protective, absolutely committed to defending what she loves. Right? That bear's ferocity is love. And every cell in your body carries that same sacred programming. You feeling it? So that's the watered down version. Right? You've got this programming, your intelligence, your innate intelligence, your organicity. Her ferocity is not separate from her love. It is her love in protective action. Divine feminine within us operates the same way. There's no separation to that. When we feel fear, when we're fearing in our bodies for our children, or if you don't have children or you don't fear for them, it's up to you. Our creative projects. What are you creating, causing and creating in the world? What are your deepest values? Do you have fearing around these or something else? This is the mother's love expressing through protective awareness. So when something feels off, think about a situation. Just take a moment and think about a situation. Or even if you're listening and you're like, whoa, who is this? What's she speaking? This isn't my truth. Well, this is my truth. Whatever, whatever you're fearing in your system, right? Something just feels off. So the feminine fear wisdom, intuitive threat detection, the mother's ability to sense danger before it becomes obvious. You with me? Protective boundaries, that fierce no that guards what is precious. Many find saying no difficult because of their wounds, their history, right? And then get scared of that fierceness to say no. Containment and holding, creating a safe space for vulnerability to grow, right? The no gives you that safe place. The yes or the no, right? But being able to, what is this intelligence guiding you to and from? Yes to that opening. No to, I'm staying aligned with what I'm here to do, what I'm here to cause and create. There's this cyclical awareness, right? This understanding that all things must die and be reborn. There's cycles of life, yeah? And what we talk about here a lot is the somatic intelligence, that organicity, right? The feeling truth through the body's wisdom. So the divine feminine creates that or creates what we might call the sacred container. The held space, which within love can express safely, I guess you would say. So the container, it's the light into the vessel, yeah? So love into the fear in this situation. So without this container, love can become naive, ungrounded, easily wounded, corrupted. Fear is its feminine expression. Right? So it's a way that asks crucial questions like, is it safe for what I love? Is it safe? Does this serve? What needs protecting here? Even within yourself within the self, or an aspect of the self. What needs protecting here? How can I create a space for love to flourish? Right? They are actually some questions that you could journal on. Is this safe? Or you could say, is this safe for what I love? You know, does this serve? What needs protecting? The other one, how can I create space for love to flourish? Right? What's in the way? How am I navigating that? So this is not the fear that stops us from living. This is the fear that ensures we live consciously. It's not the fear that stops us, it's the fear that ensures us consciously. So protecting what matters most while remaining open to authentic growth. And I said last week or the week before, it's like when you get hit to the heart, that's my ode to myself, or my mission in life is to stay open to love, to receiving. Okay, so this is part of that process. Does it make sense? So let's look at some of the aspects of Divine Mother. So, I mean, how I met the Divine Mother was through their Hindu philosophy to start with, many, many moons ago, Shakti. Okay. So in Hindu philosophy, the Shakti possesses perfect discrimination. So it's the ability to distinguish between what serves spiritual evolution and what doesn't. Right? It's like the karma dharma, right? Soul, what is it? Soul expressing, soul diminishing. The ability to distinguish what serves your evolution. This divine discrimination manifests through what we often experience as fear or resistance. So this fear, the resistance, is to do with our beliefs and conditioning patterns, right? What gets in the way. Again, I spoke about that last week, if you want to go deeper into that. When something doesn't align, the mother's protective intelligence creates resistance. Your system creates something to stop you. When we're about to betray our deepest values, make choices from ego rather than love. Do you even know the difference? So that's what we're here to unpack nearly every week, 3 Sundays of the month. First 3 Sundays of the month. Or you can move in different directions, right? some directions may harm you or others. So having that intelligence to know the difference. Okay. So as the fear arises as guidance, learning to distinguish between the mother's wise protection and ego's fearful contraction becomes crucial for spiritual development. So this week, I'm using slightly different language, but I'm talking about the same stuff. So we'll leave the Divine Mother sitting within us right now, and we're going to look at a little bit about Divine Masculine. Right? Love is sacred action. The Divine Masculine represents love in action. Now, some of this is a little generalized because I've only got a period of time. So when you're listening, if something doesn't feel quite how you understand it, again, just make note. You can ask questions. And I'll get back to you through the week. So the divine, it's this capacity to move forward with purpose, to protect what is sacred, to create and build and manifest love in the world. So again, there's a similarity, but remember, we have this within us. We have this within us. Masculine, feminine, and the neutral. Right? The 1, the 2, and the 3. The love, the fear, the unconditional love. In many ways. So the masculine alone without the feminine's protective wisdom becomes reckless, potentially harmful. So the sacred warrior needs the mother's intelligence. Your intelligence is needed. Its intelligence is needed. What is worth fighting for? And it is a nice thing to ask yourself now and then, what do you stand for? Even what are your values? What do you stand for? How do you know what's aligned and what's not aligned? Because if you don't know where you're going, if you don't have some sort of idea of the next step, how do you know whether this step over here or this step over here or this step over here is the correct one? Soul promoting, soul demoting. What gives life, what takes life. What generates, what destroys. G-O-D, generator, organizer, destructor. Love, fear, unconditional love, G-O-D. How do you know when to advance, when to retreat, when to say yes, when to say no? How to act with power without causing harm? What is that? A lot of the words being put around toxic masculinity, right? Or toxic femininity. There's such a thing, right? The dark or the unconscious side. Yeah. So knowing or having an inkling. You don't need to know the ins and outs, but you need to know, in my humble opinion, that fear is not your enemy. So what direction serves you to your highest? The masculine love expression. So let's look at, so we broke down some of the feminine or, the mother aspects. And I feel like I need to, this goes into such deep teachings, but there are many levels, and the main 3 that I work with is, the, man, woman, masculine, feminine, divine, feminine, divine, masculine, actually 4, mother and father, the mother and the father, right? So what I'm sharing today is generalized as opposed to talking about that. However, if you want to know more about that, we can do that on the Tuesdays where I unpack the teachings a little bit more. So masculine, clear direction, moving forward, protective action, standing up for what is vulnerable, creative manifestation, bringing love into form. It's interesting. I want to bring something else in. We'll see if we've got time. Penetrating insight, cutting through illusion with truth. Sustained commitment. So having a commitment, staying present through difficulty. These are some of the things, right? But love needs fear's guidance. The masculine needs the feminine's guidance in certain ways, okay? Love without fear's guidance becomes unconscious. Okay? It may be well-intentioned, but it lacks the discrimination to act wisely. How does that sit? Love without fear's guidance becomes unconscious. Kiyose likes that one. You like that? It's not about liking. How do you fear it? How does it sit in your system? Because that'll tell you that's your intelligence to say, oh, there's a fear here. Okay. Where's that? What's going on? What's it trying to tell me? What's the message here? Now, the sacred marriage, to round it off, the divine masculine's love expressions need the divine feminine's fear wisdom to remain conscious, sustainable, and beneficial. So this brings us to the marriage, or the sacred marriage, or where fear, the divine feminine, and love, divine masculine, work together consciously. They create that mystical, sacred marriage, or that divine union, right? This is not the merging that eliminates the differences, but the conscious dance that honors both as essential, both of those principles as essential principles. Right? So fear provides the intelligence, love provides the action. Fear creates the container, love fills it with presence. Fear offers discrimination and love offers compassion. Fear guards the sacred, love expresses the sacred. All right, but what about this neutral? Cynthia? I hear you say, we got the divine feminine, we got the divine masculine, and they're dancing. What about the neutral? This point between the divine feminine and divine masculine, what flows this, or what esoteric traditions call the neutral or the middle way. It's not the absence of fear and love, but the conscious space that allows both to serve our highest evolution. So you actually have these channels within you, right? The left, feminine, the right, masculine, and this inner neutral channel. And this inner neutral channel or aspect is the witness consciousness, the awareness that can observe both fear and love. And not only that, it can do it without controlling either. Because love and fear is within. That neutral holds it all. There's a sacred pause, which I talked about last week. This sacred pause, the space between stimulus and response. This is where choice becomes possible. This Just that alone, if you take that, the space between stimulus and response, because many humans don't have that space. They go from stimulus to response, bam, and then you regret what you've said or done or experiencing, or what you become ill. So we get this discernment. It's not judgment, it's discernment, the wisdom to know when fear serves and when it limits. So when love heals and when it enables, we get to know the difference. Integrative action is like the responses that honor both protective wisdom and loving purpose. So in the past, I'm talking about if you've only got love, you're not fully alive. Here, embodied, you're missing the mother, the divine feminine. You're missing half of who you are. I mean, baffles me. This is my purpose in the world, is to help unpack so that you can learn the language of the mother. Learn the language, be literate in fear, the mother's language, how she speaks through you. Because without her, there's no container for the father. And I'm not going to go into the Jesus teachings today, but go figure, right? So here's why this matters for someone on their spiritual development. It matters for every human, every being, but let's just start with human, right? The neutral channel is where we develop spiritual maturity, as I mentioned earlier. It's where we learn to work consciously with all aspects of our experience rather than just trying to eliminate the negative and cling to the positive, right? Positive thinking. You know, if that's what you got right now, then great. I'm not saying anything's bad or better or worse. I'm saying understand it. Have some understanding. Okay? Even just to understand where your belief of that came from. Where did you learn it? How is it serving you? How is it not serving you? Right? Is there something missing there? Start being conscious and have critical thought around how you are the way you are. How you are, how that is impacting on all of us, the globe, humanity. Okay? So let's touch on the neutral channel a little more, and then we'll go a bit deeper. So we discover that fear and love are both temporary experiences arising in our awareness when we have a relationship with this neutral, unconditional aspect, right? Our identity is not dependent on feeling good or avoiding feeling bad. Hear that again. Our identity is not dependent on feeling good or avoiding feeling bad. It's key. Wisdom emerges from integrating opposites rather than choosing sides. So spiritual power comes from being able to respond consciously regardless of what we're feeling. How to respond consciously regardless of how you feel, how you fear. We're still responding consciously, right? So I'll give you a little practice, and we'll just see what's the time. Okay. We're not going to go through it deeply. We'll do it a little bit. So There are many. So how do you cultivate this neutral channel? There are so many ways. Meditation practices cultivate the witness consciousness, mindfulness. A lot of the people who are doing trauma work with me, that mindfulness practice, looking at stimulus and the pause before the response, is what we call mindfulness. Okay. So being able to extend that space between stimulus and response, or what happens and you responding, so that you have the more ability to be fully conscious of what the next move is, or what is the intelligence in this the mother is sharing with you. Okay, so there's meditation. We get the conscious, the witness, right, helps us access that channel. So rather than trying to achieve particular states, which we can and we do, we learn to rest in the awareness of, or the awareness that observes all the states. Do you see? You can be in love, you can be in fear, or you can be in unconditional love, and sit and see all of it, be all of it, to the extent we can as human beings. Okay. As a yogini, I love breath. Breath can activate the neutral channel, right? Particularly working those 3 channels. So the left nostril is the feminine moon, and it calms and contains, right? So you could just notice, just for a moment before I tell you any more, have a breath through your nostrils, through your nose, and notice if one is breathing more than the other. So one might be a little clogged up. But you may not fully be able to tell just yet. It may take you some practice, unless it's really clogged up. So that will tell you what your state is, right? Are you energized and, all over the shop? Well, the right nostril breath is the masculine, or the sun, and it energizes and directs. So if you're really stressed, maybe just noticing if the left nostril is blocked. The alternate nostril breathing integrates the neutral, or the Sushumna, right? That middle path. Okay. So how do we bring in the left, the right, and the neutral? I'll just go through it a couple of times, and then you can practice it. And there's numerous ways to do this, and you can Google it. But if you want to know more, you can come on Tuesdays, and I'm happy to take you through a process. But you start by, let's just put our hand on our mid-brow, and then you've got your pinky, so your right hand. You can be your left hand, but I'm just using my right hand. And I've got my pinky on my left nostril and my thumb on my right nostril. So what we're going to do is take a breath in through our right nostril, but we're going to hold gently the left nostril. Make sense? So hold gently the left nostril with your pinky to just gently cut off the inhale. And you're going to breathe through your right nostril. Just take a breath in. Okay, and then hold it, and then close off the right nostril with your thumb and open the left nostril and breathe out through the left nostril. Then breathe in through the left nostril, close it off, breathe out through the right nostril. Breathe in through the right nostril, hold, breathe out through the left nostril. And so on and so forth. You can do it like this if you really want to. Okay, but if you want to calm and feel more contained, the left nostril, the feminine moon, Ida, right? We'll do that. If you want to be more energized and maybe wake up, the right nostril. And the integration of those is that neutral, where it's the crossover. You're doing both. So even just doing those few little breaths, notice how you feel. Has it shifted your state? So, you could do that as you're going to bed or as you're waking up or just for a couple of minutes. You may want to do it longer as a full-on meditation. Okay, so I'll leave that there. Shadow work is another way of helping us access the neutral, the unconditional, by making unconscious fears and rejected aspects of love conscious. That's trauma work. That's the IITT work that we offer. The eliminate trauma, transform, eliminate injury, transform trauma. Right? Do it, be it. And just making it conscious, allowing us to work with the full spectrum of experience. And that brings us into the somatic practices, which is also part of the IITT. It grounds us in the neutral body awareness, right? Soul, embodied, number one, I exist, okay? So body awareness that holds both the expansion and contraction, pleasure and pain, fear and love as temporary expressions of life. The temporary expressions of life. This too shall pass, comes to mind. So the evolutionary side of it, we're all being called to evolve beyond the primitive split between love and fear towards integrated wisdom that honors both. This is not just personal development, it's evolutionary necessity. I've been teaching this for over 20 years now. Kiyose's been writing about it for 30 something. It's got 6 books, 5 books out. Go read one. So that neutral channel represents humanity's next evolutionary development, the next step forward. The capacity to hold paradox. This is, I call it the mystic path, but it's for everybody. The mystics are just helping you remember what maybe you're not able to see just yet, okay? The capacity to hold the yes and the no together, the paradox, the stuff that makes your brain want to pop because it can't quite hold the opposites, right? Then we can integrate these opposites and respond from wholeness rather than that fragmentation. This is consciousness that can feel deep grief and stay, right? And maintain hope. Stay in the world. You feel the grief about the world. But you're able to maintain hope and take action. Right? You can hold protective boundaries while remaining open. That's what I was talking about before. When you're like, your heart hurts and you're just in suffering. But you're able to remain open to that growth and change. That is being in the fear or in the feeling it in the body and being able to keep open as a receptacle for love. We can love fiercely then. We love fiercely while accepting the impermanence and loss. It's not about, we can only be in the misery of it all, or we can only be in the awesome blissness of it all. No, that's immature spirituality. I'm telling you, people, you want to start walking? Listen. Act courageously while honoring legitimate concerns and fears. Okay. We're evolving this is a mature spirituality. Okay. So let me just see, check my notes. Okay. We've got a little bit more and then we'll wrap up. But another practice I want to share, just a quick one. It's a morning practice. Well, you could do it whenever, but let's do it now. This is the 3-channel check-in, calling it the 3-channel check-in, the 3-channel check-in, the 3-channel check-in. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. How many pickled peppers did Peter Piper pick? Anyway, see, she sells, I can't do that one. She sells seashells by the seashore. All right, 3-channel check-in. The feminine channel. It's just a 5-10 minute practice. So questions, feeling into that, listening, learning how to navigate the message of the fearing, meaning the sensation in your body from the nervous system. Okay, what am I feeling in my body? Feminine channel. What am I feeling in my body? So let's just do that now. What am I feeling in my body right now? Do a body scan. You can start from the head or the toes or the middle, whatever, just noticing all of your physical system. I can feel the fan blowing on my skin. I can feel my feet pressing on the floor. Feel my eyes flickering. What are you feeling? And then ask, what needs protection or care today? What needs care today? What needs some compassion? And it's not really asking, it's observing. It's observing. Where do you feel anything in your system? What's the sensation? And if you're not feeling absolutely anything, then that's what needs care today. You may be frozen. You may be, I'm going to say withdrawn. It's not the right word, from the body. Detached a little, okay? Are you feeling safe? Because that happens when you don't feel safe. So the care today may be how to help your system, your body, yourself, your Satnam, your true identity feel safe in the body. Okay, as an example. Okay, so number 2, the masculine channel, asking something like, what wants to be expressed today? What wants to be expressed today? And just listen. It's the first thing that comes. It could be a feeling, a sense, a knowing, a movement. What wants to be sensed today, expressed? And how would that expression or the love, let's keep this separate. How would the love be calling me to act? So what wants to be expressed and how would you express it? Is that clearer? Yeah. What wants to be expressed or created, even though creation is, often linked to the feminine, but the masculine has a creator aspect. What wants to be expressed? And then just connecting to the self. How might that be calling me to act or to express that? And the last piece is the neutral. What is my deepest intention? What is my deepest intention? What is my deepest intention? And just allow your body's intelligence to share with you. And you might feel it as a tension, a little pain, a movement, a change in temperature. an emotion, a thought, a memory, however it comes. What is my deepest intention? And the next part of that is, how can I honor both the protection, what needs to be cared for today, right, from the feminine, and the expression from the masculine? What is my deepest intention, and how can I honor those two parts? The care, compassion, protection, and the expression or the action. Okay. So just a couple of short little practices, but you can go and make them longer as long as you want. Humanity is currently in a massive collective initiation. We're being called to evolve. Masculine impulse. Right? Called to evolve. Masculine impulse. While facing tremendous fears about survival, identity, meaning, feminine protection. So learning to navigate this consciously through the neutral, unconditional love contains both love and fear. May determine whether we evolve or destroy ourselves. So this is why developing a mature relationship with fear is not just personal work. It's evolutionary service. Okay. So as we close our teaching, we've got a little bit more. I think we've got a little bit of time left. This is a little commitment if you choose. So as we come to close this teaching, I invite you to make a sacred commitment to honor the full spectrum of your humanity. Not to transcend fear. Not to transcend fear.
Hey.